This is Edge of Sports on the PPI Network with your host, Dave Zirin.
Before we talk about the deal, before we talk about amnesty, before we talk about who might go where, before we talk about if Chris Paul is really a linchpin for a championship team, my question for you is, what would have happened to the league if the season just hadn't been played this year?
I don't know that the average fan would have missed it at all. I think that baseball really took advantage with their really relatively quiet CBA negotiations, which we kind of discussed on our podcast. And even though they'll never overtake football, there is a strong possibility with no NBA that baseball can come in as a strong second and really start to regain casual fans who are missed at what's going on with basketball. I mean, it's a possibility, but I don't know how many people would miss it. I know I would miss it dramatically. And
I would miss it tremendously. Are we just in our own bubble? Are we in our own little NBA bubble?
There's a strong crew of NBA Nation people who would definitely miss it. I mean, you're going to see some guys who are coming into their primes of their careers and also guys who are in the twilights of their careers. Imagine Kobe Bryant or Kevin Garnett or Paul Pierce or someone like that, even a Dirk Nowitzki losing an entire year of NBA play, with this lockout. Or imagine LeBron James. I'm thinking Dan Gilbert was like, let's keep the lockout going.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. Because all those guys at Miami, a lot of people don't know, they have outs of their contracts after 4 years. So if there hadn't have been a season this year, you could say legitimately, wow, the LeBron, Wade, Bosh experiment is already half over.
No. Only because if there's no NBA season, those contracts aren't valid. So, and this is a similar question where I was thinking about the free agent class of 2012. If there's no 2011-2012 season, do those seasons count toward Chris Paul and Dwight Howard? Do they lose those seasons? Like, if they never played them, they're not honoring their contracts. Wow. They're still owed another year or so, whatever it is, on their contracts.
My understanding,
so they go to being free agents the next year, right?
My understanding is that it's the worst of both worlds, or the best if you're Chris Paul and you want to get the hell out of New Orleans, in that you don't get the money and the contract is done.
Right.
That's my understanding. So you lose the year and you lose the year on the contract.
Well, you don't actually lose the year on the contract, I don't think. I think you're still I guess if there's no NBA in there, I don't know, if they're still subject to those contracts and they don't decertify and none of that happens, they come back, those contracts still hold. They go
decertification throws another. God, I'm so tired of talking about this stuff.
There's a lot going on.
So glad to be beyond this. Something fun before you go, because I love basketball so much, and I've just been having a series of unfun discussions about it for way, way too long. Chris Paul. Does the team that gets Chris Paul, the news are out today that Boston would trade Rondo and some other parts for him. There's news out that the Clippers might want to package Eric Gordon and some other parts for Chris Paul. And then, of course, the Knicks, the team that Chris Paul apparently favors going to, although I don't know what asset the Knicks could actually even bring to the table. Does the team that gets Chris Paul, are they automatically a favorite to make the NBA championship game?
No, but they're a strong contender, and I would ask first, what is New Orleans' ability to even trade a Chris Paul since the NBA owns that team now? Is it a conflict of interest? Is it a gross dereliction of the code of ethics here that the NBA negotiates on behalf of this one team and
Man, they have antitrust protection. Ethics are what you wipe your ass with if you're an NBA owner. Ethics are what you can get caught and prosecuted for doing in the world of big business. And the NBA, like NFL, like MLB, that's the wild, wild west.
Well, I had to throw it out there, but and putting that aside and getting to the fun part, does it make any team that gets Chris Paul an automatic championship team? No. I think it makes them a serious contender. Chris Paul's a great player. I mean, he put a scare into L.A. last year. Not that L.A. was as great as they thought they were.
Yeah, that was part of it, is that they were exposed in the next round.